I hope Penn State just dog walks SMU for them not winning the ACC. If they just would have won the ACC championship, we all would have been happy. But now I'm pissed.
Did you say dog walk them?
Dog walk. Foot in arse.
Light it.
Bump. Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Saucy Nugs today. SMU head coach Rhett Lashlee is going to join us. We talk Heisman, we talk playoffs, we talk Bill Belichick, and so much more. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone back here with you. Thanks for joining us. Remember to rate, subscribe over at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And you can find us on social media at 3X Option Show. New episodes coming your way every Wednesday. Here we are. It's December, right? And we should be talking nothing but the first edition of the 12-team college football playoffs. But
instead, we're talking about Coach's 20th background.
No, we're not talking about his Christmas tree over there. He is in a very festive, it's like Festivus over there.
It took me a long time to put that together.
Yeah,
guys.
did it, Coach? Huh?
Yeah.
Which
Got
one's
the
your
Dolphins
favorite
helmet
ornament?
right there. Look at you, Coach. A Dolphins fan. Look at him. Wendy's.
Somebody snuck that in on you. Man, where in the world is Coach this week? We'll get to that one later. So we should be talking playoffs, and we are going to be talking playoffs, but instead, the crazy conversation dominating college football this week, NIL and the transfer portal hijacking college football right now. And I think there's so many angles to it, but let's start with setting the stage with what's going on at Penn State right now, right? On Saturday, the 6-seed Nittany Lions, first ever home college football playoff game. They host SMU. Their head coach, Rhett Lashlee, is going to join us momentarily. But instead, Penn State now doesn't have their number 2 quarterback. And their number 2 quarterback's a guy who really contributes with the team. Beau Pribula entered the transfer portal. He will not participate in the college football playoff game. He's fourth on the team with 9 total touchdowns behind Drew Aller, Tyler Warren, Nick Singleton. He didn't want to do it. He had to do it because the transfer portal is open right now. Oh, by the way, the current starter, Drew Aller, announced on Monday that he is going to return to Penn State for another season. So Beau Pribula, who's a highly ranked talent, says, I clearly am not going to be probably the starter next year. So I got to enter the transfer portal. And now I got to sign off because the portal is open while my team coach is sitting and preparing for a college football playoff game. A chance to be a national champ, and Beau Pribula is leaving the program right at this moment. It's insane.
I almost fell out when I saw that. This kid's a hell of a player, man.
Yes, he's a real deal.
And from I don't know him, but I heard Coach Franklin talk about him. We covered their games. They say he's always wanted to be a Nittany Lion. I mean, this guy's a good player. And this broke my heart. I can't imagine, Mark, you're a player, and I'm a coach, obviously. What your heart, you imagine if Drew Aller goes down?
Bingo. Now you're on your 3rd string quarterback.
Yeah.
And a number 2 guy who was for real.
And people want to throw him under the bus. I'm not doing that at all. I don't know I know the portal opens, I think this is important, on December 9th it opened, and on December 28th it closes, right, Rob?
That's the first
So
portal.
that means,
there's another one in April, right?
Right. So that means that this player has got to start looking into other schools. If Penn State, I wish he would have waited one more game. You know, and once again, I don't understand all this.
But if he waits another game, maybe that opportunity for another program no longer exists because people are snapping up quarterbacks.
I'm sick because to see a player walk out and to leave a team as they're ready to do something possibly historic. Penn State's got the best path to make a run at this thing. They play SMU, they play Boise. They'll be favored in both games, obviously, and God forbid Drew Aller grabs an ankle. And you look and I don't know who their 3rd-string quarterback is. I don't know. Maybe they got a Cardell Jones like we had hanging around back there. Probably not. So I'm heartbroken. Of all the good things going on this year about the playoff, about the just the quality of product on the field, actually some parity, all this, and then all of a sudden that, I don't know, Mark.
Coach, this right here is an outlier because most of the players are leaving because they don't want to be a part of it. They want to leave. Coach Franklin said, we got problems in college football. I can give you my word. Beau Pribula did not want to leave our program. He did not want to leave our program until the end of the season. Beau should not be put in this position. And that is a failure for just the scheduling, right? Like this kid, obviously, he has the right to want to do what's best for his future. And he's in a position right now where his team is going on to possibly play for a national championship. They're in the college football playoff, but he's thinking about his future at the same time. So I'm not mad at him for considering his future. But with this schedule, he has to decide right now if he's going to leave or not. Because, like you said, Stoner, if he waits another week and waits another 2 weeks, the position that was probably for him might not be there because somebody else might go there. So it's just this whole thing is just needs to be like reevaluated and redone because the window is during the most important time of the college football season, which is the playoffs, and then it closes and then it reopens. It's just crazy right now. Like the rules,
the timing is awful.
Yeah, the timing is
terrible.
terrible.
Is absolutely awful, and I think you'd have to be.
It's in the middle of the playoffs.
To not recognize it.
It's in the middle of the playoffs.
Why do these young student athletes have to make this decision right now? And why, Coach, is because education, which, oh, by the way, is why most people go to colleges.
Yeah, and I grew up in a family, and I also worked at Ohio State under Woody Hayes and not under Woody Hayes, but Earl Bruce, but where education was everything. You never hear a word about that anymore. It's all about how much what's the number. And so I think for the viewer and listener is that the big reason why this window is, everybody would say just move it back. You can't because you're starting classes. Most people start class in the 8th to the 15th of January.
Yep.
And when you're starting class, you have to be admitted, you have to be in, and you got to be going. And maybe it's all players taking online classes. And once again, this is a world that it wasn't that way when I was there. But it's a mess. How about Marshall is out?
They don't have enough players. They don't have enough players to play in their bowl game. Your coach takes the head coaching job at Southern Miss. He's probably bringing half the program. The other half of the program is leaving. They withdraw out of their bowl game after a successful season where they won their division. And now they can't play because they don't have enough players to field a team in the bowl game. Like this
Army's sitting there. They should be rewarded as well. And now it's Louisiana Tech. God bless Louisiana Tech, right? Yeah. Being a local team, close enough to the Shreveport area and stepping in and rallying they're doing the right thing, right? Like that's what college football is about. You need me to play a game. When and where? We'll figure it out. Our season was done. Now it's back together. I think that's awesome. They need to readdress this schedule. I think we all realize that, and I really hope and pray that the people, the decision makers in college football understand that and respect it, even if they can move it back a couple weeks to at least let teams get through this first round, right? At least,
right?
Give a.
We're talking about the players, but now a coach as well. You're trying to rebuild. You're in the most important time of the season right now in the college football season, but you can't even evaluate players in the portal or recruit. Because you're focusing on trying to win a game here on Saturday
with
the biggest game of the season.
Current team,
yes.
I can't wait to see how many coaches leave the profession when they move the recruiting window to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, because that's all you got. That's all you got.
Coach, Beau Pribula is leaving.
Yeah, I love that player, man.
He's a great player.
I love that player. Yeah.
He had a package even when Drew Aller was healthy. You know
what's interesting, there's a couple things that interest me on this one, Mark, and we do hear stories about guys jumping in the transfer portal or maybe accepting another place, and they stay with their program.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's better, right? That's more palatable for me at least. But guess what? If you get injured in that game, now what is your value and your worth to your quote unquote new program?
Team,
and then here's another thing. What if Drew Aller, who again we mentioned on Monday, says I'm coming back to Penn State? What if Drew Aller, he's got the prototype, right? He's got the measurables that the NFL is looking at,
right.
And he's improved every single year. What if Drew Aller absolutely balls in December and January, and his NFL stock starts going up like this? No one's saying that he can't say, you know what?
I'm going to the draft. I'm declaring.
I'm going. And now all of a sudden, James Franklin and his staff are saying, whoa.
We don't have a quarterback.
Whoa. We just lost 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And neither one we were really prepared to lose.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go win one with a third-string quarterback, man.
Well, that would be
next year. That would be next year.
So we got this mess with the transfer portal, right? We all realize it. We all recognize it. NIL, NIL is certainly lurking out there.
NIL.
Tim Beck, the head coach at Coastal Carolina, gave us a doozy of a soundbite.
Extremely frustrating. One of the things that's changing in the landscape of college football, you're not building a program anymore. This isn't a program. Each year you just build a team. You try to find the best team that you can put out there every year. And you know the team's going to get hit by, quote, free agency, right? The portal and transfers and things. So the best, you try to go out there and find the guys that you can get and bring them and be a part of your football team and try to maintain as much culture as you can when every year you have to rebuild that. You've got to identify and evaluate their strengths, their weaknesses. You have to teach them a new scheme on offense and defense per se every year because there's new guys coming in, and we have to learn them every year. How do they perform in pressure situations? All of that.
He's from Youngstown, Ohio, and I hired him on my staff. Was the offense coordinator at Nebraska. I hired him at Ohio State, and he's all about the right stuff. I love this guy, great coach. And I actually texted him after I saw that. What he said, and I won't repeat. I'm looking at it right now. I won't repeat what he said. It wasn't, as you can imagine. He said, I won't say what he said, but that's a shame. I mean, but it's a reality. When you are consistently transitioning players, you simply try to put the best group of players you can out there. Understand they're probably gone. It is what it is, and I'm not a fan of it.
Because essentially you're not building a program anymore. Like you said, that you're putting the best possible product you could put out for a football season, 4 or 5 months, and then your program's going to get hit by free agency, which is crazy because in college there was no free agency. Now free agency is open. Your team can leave. They can your players can leave. You can get players from other places. So, and building a program was so important to me because that's culture, right? That's like kind of what helps you grow as a man. It builds character. It's accountability. It's all these things. Family, like going to work with your people, and like you lose all of that when you don't have a program. It's just all about me and what do I need to do.
And I think, Mark, this is really interesting, is that everybody talks about the Alabama, the Ohio State, and there are transfers and all that. However, let's not forget the other 100 or about 100 other 90 schools in the country that, like Coach Beck, that you develop a player,
he leaves.
He's gone.
He leaves.
He's gone. And I've talked to many colleagues, and they just understand that. I know the coach at Bowling Green. I know a lot of these coaches, and the reality is they develop this player, and they know in their mind he's gone. And so that's just I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the answer is. Going to continue as is. That genie's out of the bottle. That's not changing.
College football has become a temp agency, right? It's you come to the agency with your resume and I'm looking for work, and college football is going to try to place you somewhere. And it may be
throw
for 2
that number
weeks.
out there, Rob.
It may be for 2 months. The number of people in the portal is absolutely insane. The first week of the portal being open right now, 1,500 FBS scholarship players and almost 2,000 total players. That's like 500 dudes who aren't even on scholarship are in the portal. That's since December 9th. A little context, the total number of FBS players who transferred in the 2018-19 season in the first era, the first year of the portal era. So a whole year was 1,561. So 1 week, we're getting almost 2,000 compared to 1 year, it was 1,500. That's your saucy nug of the week.
Saucy nug.
Try some at your nearest Wendy's. We love saucy nugs. I'm not a big fan of some of those stats, man. That is a tough one, tough pill. Let's hope in the offseason
2,000 players.
It gets attacked and
counting.
And coach, GMs and head coaches out there are dealing with kind of dealing with one set of questions right now that are coming their way, and how they have to handle their communication with their players right now is a brave new world, and it's an awful world.
What that check looking like?
How about this, Mark?
What that check looking like, Coach?
I spoke to a GM at one of the top schools in the country. They had to put out a memo and a text and say, "Quick, come into my office, agents, players, third uncles, and asking for money. We have a game coming up. Put this on hold. We have a really good team we're going to play. Let's try to block, tackle, learn the scheme, go win the game, and then we'll have conversations about, because he was inundated for 10, 12 hours a day of nothing else other than that.
Not just a game, a playoff game, a chance to win the national title. And this is what people are having to deal with behind the scenes. Yeah. College football created it. Let's see if college football can clean it up.
Light it.
You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, right, Mark? You've had the Wendy Nugs?
I've had them, and I love them.
But, Mark, I ask you, have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs that I know you love, and you know what they turn them up to? They turn them up to 11, Mark.
Ooh, more than 10.
More than
Choose
10.
between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. There's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love.
Are you man enough to try the spicy ghost pepper, by the way? Do you think you could pull that off?
That's not for me. I'm the honey barbecue type guy.
Yeah, I can do the peppers. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and then go back and get a few more napkins and prepare to nug. Apparently the word nug is a verb now. So Mark, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before for a whole new way to nug. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Keep on nugging, America.
Nug City.
This year marked the 125th meeting of the Army-Navy game presented by USAA. And while both teams battled for the win, one was victorious and earned the opportunity to sing second.
As a proud presenter, USAA knows the game was much more than a traditional matchup. It was a time when the country came together to recognize the commitment, teamwork, and sacrifice our service members make for our country.
Founded by a group of military members over 100 years ago, USAA remains dedicated to serving the military community and their families with a wide range of financial products and services. Because they know you can't always guess the next play, but you can always be ready for it.
So, whether you were rooting for the Army Black Knights or the Navy Midshipmen, USAA is proud to have joined you in honoring and celebrating one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football.
Visit USAA.com to learn more. Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face these consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. College football still gets a ton of things right? It's still our favorite sport. Sure. We love and adore this sport and everything that it has. And one of its greatest moments takes place on a certain Saturday in December in New York City. The Heisman Trophy handed out on Saturday. You were there, Mark. I had my camera phone when I was at work. I was like, where's my Mark Ingram? Where is it? What did you do when that camera found you?
Hit the pose.
You hit it. You hit it.
It's only right.
And you have a vote. I have a vote. Coach somehow does not have a vote for the Heisman Trophy.
That's crazy.
We got
for some of the people that do have votes, for Coach not to have one is
insanity.
It's asinine.
Insanity. Did you voted for Travis #1? Did you?
Hey man,
I did.
I voted the winner.
Yeah, I
voted
did too.
the winner, man.
And I had Genty at #2.
Listen, Genty is worthy of that award.
Correct.
He is
1A
worthy
or
of that
1B,
award, and he wins that award if there isn't a Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, you talk about the meaningful snaps that he has played on both sides of football. They say, popularity contest. No, go watch this kid play football. His instincts as a shutdown corner on defense, his ball skills, high pointing the ball, acrobatic catches, route running on offense. Like he's easily a top corner. He's the top corner in college football right now, and easily he's a Biletnikoff winner too. So he's the top wide receiver in college football as well. Like, how do you not Give this man the trophy. He's the best player in college football. And testament to Ashton Jeanty, because this was the closest race in Heisman history other than my race when I won it by 28 votes. So it tells you Ashton Jeanty is worthy and is worthy and deserving of this award. And if there wasn't a Travis Hunter, Ashton Jeanty would have ran away with this thing with flying colors. But shout out to Travis Hunter, man. He's deserving. All the thing he's been through, the adversity he's been over to overcome, and it's just a beginning for him. I hope he goes on and he has an amazing future in the NFL, and same with Jeanty and same with everyone else that was up there at the Heisman presentation, man. It was a great evening, and I'm so proud and blessed to be a part of that fraternity.
One thing I wish they'd do, and I back when I was coaching, I said this, no one listened, obviously, but they should invite the top 8 players and make it a nice weekend for, you got Scatterbo, you had the quarterback at Army. Those guys should have, they should have been there and enjoy that. This is and
Shedeur Sanders.
We got to keep remembering this is about players.
Yeah.
And the collegiate experience. So I get so pissed off sometimes when we got this budget. No. You got a chance to go to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, something that will change your life. Invite more players.
Yeah.
I get so pissed off because I've had a few players should have been there, and they weren't, and I don't get it.
Sometimes they do 3, sometimes they do 4, sometimes they do 5.
No, they invite the top 8 players, man. Yeah. I mean, suck it up and you'll get a sponsor.
Sometimes the bottom 3 don't need to go though. They ain't gonna have a chance.
Let them get a trip to New York City. Let them hang out, enjoy the sights.
You messing
right?
with the
holiday season.
You messing with my family's budget now,
right? Hey, give me one quick story from the Heisman weekend in New York.
This weekend?
Yes, this Saturday.
It's just so much fun, man. We were all together, Army, Navy. I took the train up to New York. I land, I get in the cab. I go to the Marriott Marquis, man, and I'm in the suite, man, and I'm hanging out with Eddie George. I'm hanging out with Troy Smith. I'm hanging out with Archie Griffin. Like, I'm hanging out with George Rogers, man, and just the stories, man, the laughter, like the knowledge, the wisdom that gets passed on from guys to guys, man. It's just truly a blessing, man. And then you go and you see Doug Flutie. You're seeing Tim Tebow. I'm with RG3. I'm with Cam Newton. Like, we're just all having a great time, man. It's just a blessing, man, just to be around good people and people that have accomplished something special. And like, there's only a small amount of us. So we all can relate and just bounce ideas and thoughts and just check on each other, meet each other's families. It's a blessing, man. The whole weekend. It's a big weekend. I was only able to be there for maybe 12 hours, because I had to leave and come to my daughter's soccer tournament. But man, I love it every time I get to go up there. They do something Friday. They do the ceremony Saturday. They do a brunch on Sunday. So I missed a lot of that stuff because I was with y'all at Army, Navy. And then I left early to come to my daughter's soccer tournament. But just an amazing group of guys, man. I'm blessed to be a part of it.
What a cool fraternity to be a part of. And I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. I get so happy and so proud of you every time I look at this shot right now and I see what's hanging out over your shoulder. And there's Mr. Heisman. Not in the closet like at the Leinert household, right?
Yeah, right.
It's front.
Mom Dukes had it. She took care of it, man. And
polish that sucker.
They told me. They said that every Heisman is one of a kind. Like, there's just little small differences in it. I'm like,
I love it, man.
They all look the same to me, but.
Well, congratulations, Travis Hunter. Well deserved on winning the Heisman Trophy. Coming up next, we're going to continue talking about college football and the playoffs, which kick off this week. We're joined by SMU head coach Rhett Lashlee on the Triple Option. Next, presented by Wendy's.
Light it.
Well, as you all know by now, we have teamed up with our great friends at BetMGM this season, and we're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. We'll also have special offers for our listeners each week. Mark, you're listening, right? You're listening to this?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Pay attention. All right, so if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, we urge you to use the bonus code OPTION or go to betmgm.com/option, and you will get up to $1,500 first bet offer, Mark, on your first wager with BetMGM. We're talking $1,500, Mark.
$1,500. But here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code OPTION. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code OPTION when you sign up or go to betmgm.com/option.
It's all about the option, Mark.
It's all about the option, especially the triple option.
See betmgm.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369 New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Rob Urban, Mark back here with you, now joined by ACC Coach of the Year, SMU's Rhett Lashlee, who has a rather large game looming this Saturday in Happy Valley. Coach, I know you're super busy this week, so thanks for taking the time to join the Triple Option. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, Coach, I followed your career, and congrats, man. And I remember watching as SMU came so close to winning that game, and then you have to play that damn waiting game. And the thoughts that go through your mind, I've been there. I mean, did you have a plan B, or were you so convinced you guys were in there? How'd you handle that waiting game?
Yeah, it wasn't fun. We decided just knowing that going into the game that if we won, we were in, and if we lost, that we would be in that situation. We were never going to have any kind of watch party if we didn't win. And so when we didn't win, it was midnight by the time the game ended. So we only had about 11 or 12 hours to wait. We flew home that night, and we had a team meeting set for 3:00 that afternoon. So that way, either way it went, we wouldn't have TVs in our guys' face if it didn't go the way we wanted it to go.
Yeah, Coach. I was one of those guys who just wanted you guys to win, because if you win, we would all been in. But instead,
I know, man. Sorry we didn't get it done for you.
It's okay. It's okay.
I wanted us to win too. So if that makes you feel any better,
I was rooting for you guys. No, but I'm sad now. But it's okay.
We had a bad first quarter, made it hard on ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Y'all deserved it though. But how have you rallied the troops, man? Get these guys to lock back in after the loss to Clemson in the ACC championship game, knowing you have a huge game on the road against Penn State. What have you done? What's your message been to the guys to get them back locked in, ready to roll?
Yeah, I think we've just tried to stay on the routine we've had all year. Once we found out we were in Sunday, that was 2 weeks from playing. It almost was like a bye week and then game week, and so we've kind of treated it like we treated our bye weeks this year. We got to work. We got plenty done, but we wanted to get them back physically on the first week. And now as we head into this week, it's game week. We'll have our normal routine. The guys, we had a really good year. We hadn't lost since about September 6th until we did the other night. And so, they played with a lot of confidence. They know that we hurt ourselves in the first quarter of that game, giving them the ball 4 times on our side of the field in the first quarter. And so, I didn't have to say much. They were really fired up when we had that team meeting at 3 to knowing they were in, and they've been great ever since. And so we're going to approach this week like we did every other week that helped us get 11 wins.
Coach, how the hell did you do it? Right? I mean, nobody was talking SMU coming into this season, first year in the ACC, and you guys, between the resources and getting the players and getting the wins over, quote unquote, bigger programs, give me, I guess, the one-page blueprint of how SMU was able to get to the level that they got this season.
I don't know. We never told them they weren't supposed to do it. Last year we won 11 games, won our conference, and we had a decent group returning from that. We had to go out into the portal and really bulk up our O&D line. That was the goal. Not only did we need to make sure we had the best starting O&D line, but we needed depth, particularly on the D line. If we were going to hang in there on a 10 game in a row, which ended up being 11 games straight Power 4 schedule, something that our program hadn't been doing lately, we were going to have depth there, and we did that. And we just went about it 1 week at a time. The way our season broke down, it broke up into 4 quarters perfectly because we played week 0. So we played 3 games, we were off. We played 3, we were off. 3, we were off. And so we told them at the beginning of the year what our goal was, the same as the year before, was to get to Charlotte and to get ourselves into November, being in contention for that. And so in order to do that, We knew we'd have to stay present. We knew it'd be hard and there'd be unexpected things. So we were going to try to win all 4 quarters of our season. And so we just broke it down into 4 quarters. And then the other thing we did, when we went to fall camp, in fall camp, and Coach knows this, and Mark, you practice, you walk through, you practice, you walk through, a lot of those things. Our O&D walkthrough shirts said defending champs on them because that's what we were.
Yeah.
And we weren't defending champs in the ACC, but I think there was only 10 teams that could go into this year saying they were defending champs. And we wanted them to have that mindset that we belong, we've done this before, and credit them with doing it.
I looking at your career here, and other than 2017, you've been in the South primarily.
Yeah.
And now you get to roll up. I've been to State College many times, never in December. Are you worried, or do you just or you just say the heck with it? We're going to go play. And when I was younger, I was a maniac about trying to get him in the, in those kind of conditions. But is it just go get them, or have you talked about it? Is there a plan to try to get them acclimated?
Yeah, we pretty much are doing similar to what we did last week. The game in Charlotte was cold. It wasn't probably as cold as this one's going to be, but it was around 40 at kickoff and in the mid-30s, in that second half. And we were fortunate here the week before the championship game, it was cold, especially in the mornings, and we practiced in the mornings. So it was 30s and 40s, and we just went outside and practiced in it. And we did address it early in the week that it's going to be cold, let's embrace it. And our guys did. I didn't think we didn't win the game because it was cold.
Right.
This is a little different. It's a little different cold, to your point, going up there. And unfortunately, this week's a little warmer than I want it to be. But, we addressed it like I told them last Monday, and I told them again today. You know how it is, Coach. All these guys want to play in the NFL. And right now, if you play in the NFL and you get to December and January, you got to go through Arrowhead in Kansas City. You got to go through Buffalo. You got to go through Lambeau. You're either on those teams or you're playing those teams. And so this is championship weather. This is playoff football weather. You're going to be able to see your breath freeze in midair, and that is what it is. And we have to embrace it just like we have to embrace the fact that, we're going on the road and there's 106,000 fans. Like, if you're a competitor, you have to get up for this. And if you don't, then it's going to show. And so we addressed it on the front end of the week. We really don't talk about it anymore because we don't want to make any bigger deal about it than it is. So that's kind of how we've handled it.
How are you guys capitalizing on this moment? I know you have a massive game going on. The transfer portal is open, but behind the scenes, you have some alumni and donor energy that you may never see again, and you need to absolutely nail it in this window. So how are you guys trying to make the most of this moment so SMU football can continue to grow?
Yeah, our guys have already done that to some degree, being top 10 and going undefeated in the regular season in our conference and playing for a championship and making the college football playoff. That's awesome for our program with where we are and what we've been able to do to prove we belong. And now hopefully that momentum will take us through recruiting, the offseason, and allow us to sustain it. That's the hardest thing, but that's a problem for after the playoffs are over. I think we'll find out. I know our guys are excited to play. It's a special group. It's a group that has won 22 games in the last 2 years, and they go into every game just thinking they're supposed to win. And they really don't look at it any differently. Even the other night, like I said, we got behind, didn't play well. The way they came out in the second half, I think, showed a lot about our competitive character. We got to stop. We went down and scored, and then we had some other things not go our way, and we find ourselves going in the fourth quarter down 17, and we just kept playing. The next thing you know, it's 31-all with 16 seconds to go. So I know this team's going to show up. They're going to be physical. They're going to play hard. They're going to respond. And if we do that, we have a chance to shock some people and win, which will obviously aid kind of this moment. That's a big moment in our program to try to get back on the national stage and prove we belong at this level.
What is the SMU fit right now?
I think it's guys that want to win. I think it's guys that want to show that this is a tough program. I think it's for a long time, SMU, obviously we had our issues, but when we came back, we were known as an offensive school that couldn't stop anybody, and we were kind of a finesse program. And so that's what we wanted to change 3 years ago. In our first year, we went 7-5, and we did some things well. We finished in the month of November. We went 3-1, and that's good. But we didn't play championship level defense. We hadn't done that in 4 decades since Eric Dickerson played here. And so we went out in the last 2 years in the portal, whether it's D-line and linebackers and on offense too. And we just realized that, like, for us to win and play championship football, not only where we were, but now where we are in the Power 4 level, we've got to play championship defense and we got to be physical. And so we have 3 goals every game. We want to win the run game. That's offense and defense. We want to win the run game. We want to, win the turnover battle and win the explosives. And we control how hard we play. We control how physical we play. And we want to make sure every time we go out there that nobody can say when they leave the field that we weren't the most physical team on the field.
Thanks for joining us. I know you're busy, man. And that Tyler Warren's a hell of a player. You stop him, man.
Him and them
lot
2
of them.
backs.
I mean,
him and those 2 backs.
Yeah, let's not start talking about their defensive ends who are in the backfield before the ball snaps. So no, their team speed is special. So we got our hands cut out for us. Our work cut out.
All the best, man.
Big
Thanks,
test
guys.
Saturday.
Appreciate you, Coach.
At Beaver Stadium. SMU taking on Penn State, 11 versus 6 seed. SMU head coach Rhett Lashlee, kind enough to join us this week on the Triple Option. Coach, congrats and enjoy your trip up to Happy Valley and continued success.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by the Wendy's. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone back here with you. Time now for Defining Moments brought to you by NHTSA. Drunk driving changes your world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. And in order to define your legacy at a school, at a program, Coach, you need to get that first extension, right? And that's what Marcus Freeman got over the weekend at Notre Dame. Sounds like it's a 4-year extension, secures him for 6 more years in South Bend.
Good for him.
Yeah, he had 2 more years remaining on the current deal. Of course, he got Notre Dame to the college football playoffs. They'll host Indiana coming up on Saturday, or on Friday, I should say. We'll talk more about that one in a second. Coach, you remember your first extension? Was it at BG? No, you weren't there long enough, were you?
No, just
Utah?
2 years. No.
Utah?
No.
Did you get an extension at Utah?
No.
Florida.
No, Florida?
I had an offer, yeah, but
Did you get
we
any
moved on.
extensions? Did you get an extension?
Florida and Ohio State.
There we go. Bam.
So, hey, how about this, Mark? I went to University of Notre Dame for $55,000. Shelley had to work to just for survival money. And then I got my first head coaching job at Bowling Green for the grand sum of $100,000. We couldn't sell our house in South Bend, and we were paying 2 house payments. And Shelley came up to me and she goes, "How are we going to make this work?" She's like looking at the numbers, and we couldn't make it work. She goes, like, when's this head coach money start rolling in? And then we went to Utah, and then we had a nice payday at
She's living in a good
Gators.
crib now. She's living in a good crib now.
She's doing
I know
fine.
that.
So kudos to Notre Dame. I got my first extension, I remember, at Florida, and that's a big – it's not only for you, but it's for the entire support staff, it's stability. And usually when the head coach gets an extension, so does everybody involved. So that well done, Notre Dame. It's the right thing. I got a lot of respect for Coach Freeman, and well done.
Man, he's very deserving. I mean, we had him on the podcast, just very sharp, very smart. I mean, he's 30-9 in his 4 years right now at Notre Dame. Has him in the playoffs with a home field victory. So, man, when you do good things, you get rewarded for it. So, shout out to Coach Freeman, man. He's doing a great job out there at Notre Dame.
Let me tell you, there were a lot of Notre Dame alums who are not on board for an extension after that home loss to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
But he's been able to sort around.
Re-give out the survey, Stoner.
Right.
Re-hand out the survey.
Right. But it does bring up that talking point about, do schools sometimes go in too early with an extension, or do they wait too long? And that's a tricky game. Like, if you think you got the guy, you want to tie him up as long as you can, or if you know somebody's going to come after him, let's tie him up and increase that buyout. But sometimes I feel like if you have just one good season, Coach, a lot of programs, a lot of presidents and ADs are almost handcuffed to throw out the extension, whether it's worthy or not. They're just forced to base it on one season sometimes.
Well, that's that agent world that's out there, and I that's exactly when I see that happen. And I kind of know behind the scenes, and I hear stories, and these ADs are put in some really precarious situations, and all, a hot item out there, and they're being shopped around. And once again, I'm not a big fan of that either. And I was part of it. So obviously benefited from all that, but that's a tough situation for an AD. And then all of a sudden the coach gets locked in, and the program starts to slip a little bit.
Now you got that
and as
$80
a
million
result,
buyout.
yeah, you get paralyzed as a program. because there's a lot of money in the sports, but some of these buyouts, we saw one at A&M.
Yeah.
That can bankrupt a program.
Yeah.
And do
the
it
thing
fast.
is, if you have a guy that you believe in, and you're the AD, you have a guy that you believe in, a guy that has continuously been consistent, then reward him for that. But you can't just go off of success of 1 year and then pay this guy $80 million, and then the next 2 years is not what you thought it was going to be. Now you have to buy out for 50, 60 million, and he's getting paid for 3, 4, 5 more years on your account. So it's got to be a thing where it's got to be from top down. Everyone has to be on a single accord. The best organizations I've been a part of in the NFL, even in college, everyone was on the same page from top to bottom. So as long as you have that kind of as long as you have that in your program, that top to bottom, everyone on the same page, which is hard to do now in this NIL and transfer portal day. But I think if you have a guy that you believe in and you trust in, then you should give him his reward, which Marcus Freeman got.
Well, what happens, Rob, is this too, is that, and I talked to an AD several years ago, and we're sitting there talking, he says, can you believe this nonsense? The guy has one good year, and I'm getting called from his agent, said either you up him or he's leaving. And he's like, it's just the world, I don't know.
I'm with you, Coach.
I don't get it.
I hear you loud and clear. The big coaching hire took place last week. Bill Belichick into Chapel Bill, North Carolina, right? So the Tar Heels NIL budget expected to go up from $4 million to $20 million.
5X.
How's Mac Brown feel about that?
Right?
5X,
where was that? Where was the 20M when I was there? The talent he could have brought in, right?
5X.
But Bill Belichick making immediate moves internally, guys. And I love this. The transfer portal, right? He had to jump right into it. It was already open when he got hired. He kept his standout linebacker, Amari Campbell, his starting center, Austin Blasky. They both pulled their names out of the transfer portal. That's 2 big wins, right? Like huge wins. And, the amount of time that Belichick and his GM, Michael Lombardi, had to evaluate the guys that are already in Chapel Hill and then the guys they might want to try to bring in. I mean, this is a tough situation. So those are 2 big wins. Also, their big quarterback recruit, a 4-star kid from North Carolina, decided to commit and stay with UNC. So Bill Belichick, guys, getting some big wins early on. The coordinators still up in the air. We're hearing Las Vegas Raiders OC Scott Turner, one of their top targets. Coach, there had been that mention that Bill's son, Steve Belichick, the current Washington defensive coordinator, is expected to join the staff in some way, shape, or form in the not too near distant future. But your early thoughts on how Coach Belichick's working so far in college football and at North Carolina?
Yeah, I know him very well, and he'll figure it out. I mean, when I first saw it, like most reactions, I thought, first of all, he's 72. I'm 60, and are you out of your mind? I wouldn't do that. But he's 72, and he's like, at some point, Coach, go enjoy your life. But he enjoys it. He'll figure it out. He'll surround him with good people. I guess the question I asked last time, too, is when anyone asks me, how do you think he'll do? My response back to them is, what's your expectation? Is North Carolina expected? Is there a chance they can win a national championship? I don't think he'll do that. Is it to go compete for a playoff and win the ACC? Yeah, the conference is very average right now. You get a couple really good players in there, you can go win that conference and be in the playoff. And you're paying a guy $10 million a year. You just went $20 million Ohio State type level NIL money. You're damn right you better be in the playoff. That's what they're saying, I guess.
5X, Coach. You got anywhere where I can put my money and we can get 5X back?
But I'll tell you, the timing's right. The conference is not
5X. That's me all day.
Hey, by the way, the conference has 2 programs in the playoffs, Clemson and SMU. So I understand your point. No,
but listen, Chapel Bill is doing what you're supposed to do. What do you do when you go take over a program? You keep your best players there. He's done that. You win your in-state talent. He's done that. You said a 4-star quarterback from North Carolina commits to North Carolina. That's how you start a program going in the right direction. Keeping your best talent at home, keeping your best players on the roster, and then going to dressing. When you have your best players on the roster, those guys can go to bat for you. When you have a big recruit coming into town, when you have a player in the portal that's coming into town, that's who you send. You send the players who are on the field. And that's what Bill has done, and I think that's huge. He's keeping his best players there. So good start for Coach.
I do think he would have really struggled in the old model. How about this? In the month of December, coaches aren't allowed to go recruit now. I'm telling you, Rob and Mark, I think I told you this in the day after the Big Ten championship game or SEC championship game, you grabbed your film and you went on the road. And you would go from 7 a.m., you'd go to 3 high schools, you'd meet with the players, you'd meet with the families, you go to basketball practice or a basketball game, a couple home visits, you'd crawl in bed at 10 o'clock and you're doing it again. You're doing that for 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And then on the weekends, you fly home and you have official visit weekends and you start practicing for the bowl game. Do I think Coach Belichick was made to go on, 3 home visits a night, flying around the country? I don't know if he would have done that. And I think it's become more of an NFL model now where it's, what's the number? The kids are now visiting campuses, by the way. They're visiting campuses.
That's
Coaches
the thing.
are not out.
He is recruiting, right?
Oh, sure.
He's maybe not on the road, but he is busy bringing those talents
Yep.
into Chapel Hill, that transfer portal wide open and introducing himself to the players he has in front of him, just waiting there in the Carolina blue already and keeping them. So I think it's been a good.
So how about this real quick? So this is really cool. So we're competing for a national title. Mark, think about this. And all our coaches go out recruiting. And this is back in the DVD era. And I'd go on the plane. DVD era. And Dan Mullen, Steve Adazio, and Greg Madison and Charlie Straw, my coaches, would all go out. And we come back in and script practices from what we did on airplanes. Think about that. Because you were gone the entire time and you're playing Oklahoma for the national title.
And by the way, a lot of those coaches are probably doing some interviews because they're getting some sniffs and people want to talk about them and moving them up from wide receiver coach to OC and from OC to HC and whatever's going on with that. So, all right. So we think Bill Belichick, we feel like he won the press conference and he continues to get some wins in Chapel Hill. But there's 4 games coming our way this week, and it's time for Pick 6 brought to you by BetMGM. Place your money line, prop parlay, and same game parlay bets at BetMGM. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.
Please gamble responsibly.
Here we go. It's not quite the Pick 6 because there's only 4 games that we're going to talk about right now. So instead of that number, we're going to give you guys a quick shot at the 4 playoff games. All right, Mark, you're going to go first. All right,
Am I?
Urban, you can clean up
Lord,
on it.
I'm going first.
You're going first. We're going to start in the great state of Indiana. Number 7, Notre Dame, a 7.5-point favorite over 10th ranked Indiana. All 4 teams that are home and hosting games this weekend are favored by at least a touchdown. Notre Dame, a 7.5-point favorite over the Hoosiers.
The Hoosiers in the playoffs. Notre Dame in the playoffs. They both are Indiana. They both play outside. So this is just going to be, it's going to be nice. I like it. But hey, Jeremiah Love is the difference for Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, he's a baller, one of the best backs in the country. They play strong on defense. Now, I like Indiana. Coach Cignetti's going to have them ready. So I think Notre Dame wins this in South Bend, but I like Indiana to cover. I think it's going to be a tight game.
Coach?
I agree, Mark. I'm looking at these 4 games, and of the 4, 3 of them I think are right on the point spread I'd pick as well. There's one that's not, but this one I think 7.5 is right there. We covered Indiana a bunch. I've watched Notre Dame a bunch on film. I think Notre Dame wins, but I think it's a score game. I think they got the right thing.
If I had to pick one upset of the 4 going down this weekend, if I had to pick one, Indiana over Notre Dame.
But are you picking them?
I'm saying if I had to.
We're not asking if you had to, because if I had to, I'd do it. I'd do
Hoosiers.
it too if I had to.
Hoosiers. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Indiana upsets
Hoosiers.
Notre Dame. I just called it. All right. The other game, and it's going to be a whiteout. Number 6, Penn State, hosting number 11, SMU. We just spoke with
whiteout
SMU
at noon.
Coach
Hey, Penn State.
Yeah, how about that?
Hey,
Crazy.
Penn State. Whiteout at noon.
Enjoy your
We're
new
here.
games, Penn State.
I hope I can see a whiteout at noon.
Nittany Lions favored by 8.5. Mark, you get first ups again. Penn State.
I'm up
SMU.
again first?
Then the coach is going to go up first the next 2.
I hope Penn State just dog walks SMU for them not winning the ACC. And if they just would have won the ACC championship, we all would have been happy. But now I'm pissed. So
Did you say dog walk them?
Dog walk.
Dog walk them?
Foot and arse. SMU is going up to Dallas. I mean, they're going up to Happy Valley. It's going to be freezing their face off. They're coming from Dallas, Penn State. I got Penn State winning this one, man.
Okay.
Just Tyler Warren, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, defense playing with their hair on fire. James Franklin has to hold it down in Happy Valley. I got Penn State in this one, especially with the weather. SMU ain't going to be ready for that cold.
Yeah, I started watching SMU earlier in the year when they started catching fire, and I got a lot of respect for them. But this one's a different animal. I think Penn State's a really good team. They'll control the line of scrimmage, and Tyler Warren and those two backs, I think, will have a good day against them. And like Coach told us, the defensive line of Penn State will dominate that game. So that's the 1 point spread that I see Penn State winning, beating that spread.
Yeah, it feels like the stage might be just a little too big, a little too early for SMU. Congratulations on everything that they've done, and maybe it does continue, but it does feel like
that's going to be a big, cold stage, man.
With all due respect to SMU, respectfully, SMU, respectfully.
Correct. And we're all kind of saying the same thing in different ways. So we all see Penn State moving on and covering that 8.5 point spread.
Mine's more of a personal vendetta.
Yes, I know. Yours was.
Respectfully.
Dog walk. All right, Coach, you're up first on this one. And this one, the next two are kind of like the sexy matchups, if you will, with programs that are universally respected across our nation. Number 5, Texas in Austin. Big one here. This is the biggest spread of the 4. An 11.5 point favorite over 12 seed Clemson.
A lot like the Notre Dame and coming up with the Ohio State, Tennessee. This point spread to me is right on. Texas is one of the top 3 rosters in college football. I think it's going to be right at a score and a half. It's going to be a 12-point, 10-point game. So I think it's right there. I'm going to go Texas covering. Ooh. I just think, again, I've been on the Texas bandwagon now for 2 years. Don't let me down, Texas. Let's go, man. Cover your spread.
Yeah, Coach, I agree with you. I mean, Clemson has had a good run. I think Clemson is battle tested. They played 2 SEC teams this year. They played Georgia and got dog walked. There you go, Stoner. They played South Carolina in a close game, lost. They lost to somebody else too. I forgot. They have 3 losses, but I think they're battle tested. I think they're going to be ready for this. But I do like Texas to win this game. I like Texas to win kind of by like 10 points. So I got Clemson covering the spread. But I think the Longhorns roll to victory. We'll see how healthy Quinn Ewers could be. We know this defense is dominant. We know they run the football with Trey Wisner. We know they have athletes on the outside. So can the quarterback be healthy and play like we know that he's capable of playing? We've seen him play big in big games before, and I think he will. He's had a week to get healthy. No, he didn't. He didn't. Yes, he did have a week to get healthy.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. He did have a week to get healthy. So healthy Quinn Ewers, I think, is going to be the difference in this game.
Did you say earlier, Mark, you thought Penn State had kind of the easiest pathway?
Yes, they have. They have SMU, then they have
SMU,
Boise.
then Boise State.
So I think if you're looking for favorable matchups for Penn State, I think you would take those 2 over any other 2.
So I would argue that Texas might have the most palatable pathway because I'm going to take it all the way to the semis. We all like Texas over Clemson, right?
Yes.
I know,
and
Coach,
who
you're
would
going
the
to
next
jump in there,
matchup
11.5. So the next matchup is Arizona State. And as much as we love Cam Scadaboo, if you look at the 2 lowest, quote unquote, seeded teams, it would be Arizona State and Clemson. And those are the 2 teams that Texas has to go through. And guess what? Texas wins those 2 games. You know where they go for the semifinals? Texas, Cotton Bowl.
Wow.
So they would be playing the semifinals in Arlington. And again, that could be against a Tennessee and Ohio State, a Georgia, and how about another meeting with Georgia, by the way, in the Cotton Bowl? So I just love Texas's path right now. As long as they don't get ahead of themselves, I don't see that happening at all. I think Clemson, we all feel, is very fortunate to be in the playoffs, and I like Texas as well. And I think I'd like Texas to cover. I think they're going to win it by 14. Coach, Tennessee, number 9. At the Ohio State, the 8 seed. The spread is 7.5 for the Buckeyes in Columbus on Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm going to say a player's name, Seth McLaughlin, and that when that bomb went off and they lost their center, that changed the whole world.
Dagger.
They played their best offensive line play in 2 years at Penn State, and it did not look good in the last game against the Wolverines. So I think the point spread's right. I'm going to go with the Buckeyes with a low-scoring game. I think the strength of Tennessee is their defense, especially I watched them yesterday because I wanted to see the SEC D line. Guess what, Mark? They got
They're
an
that.
SEC D line.
They are
Big,
that.
Big veined up
thick
cats, Coach?
Big, thick cats that get their feet across the line of scrimmage, and that's not good for Ohio State. So they got to get the ball out. It's going to be cold. It's going to be 20 degrees. I don't know the wind, and I don't think there's any snow or anything like that. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I do think Ohio State's got the best defense in the country, so it'll be a 16-10 type game. I really believe that.
Wow,
and I think
16-10 type.
I got Ohio
Whoa.
State winning, but
You got Tennessee
covering.
covering? Yeah. Listen, man, Ohio State in trouble right now. This is not a good draw for them. It's not a good draw for them, man. You talked about that defensive line. That
Go with
defense.
it.
They're one
You
of the
gonna go with it?
They're one of the toughest defenses in the country, Coach.
Go with it.
Getting pressure, stopping the run, Dylan Sampson on offense,
Go with
running
it.
the football. Listen.
Go with it.
Can Nico Iamaleava weather the storm in the cold? Can he toss that thing around, not make mistakes, not turn the football over? Can he? I think he can. I think he can.
A dub or cover? A dub or cover? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I got
really?
Ohio State, but I got Tennessee covering, though.
All right.
I got the Bucks. I got the Bucks, but I got Tennessee covering. I think they're in trouble, though. You say there's one game that you might pick for an upset. I have it as this one. If there's one game I'm picking for an upset, I have it as this one.
And I can see it because we don't know what Ohio State is after that humbling loss to Michigan. My take, and Coach, you know this better, but my take is they needed a whole week off to lick their wounds and to kind of come back to their senses, to take that smelling salt. And then I think this week has been the rise up again. Like, hey guys, this is what we do. They got to build Will Howard up. They got to get his confidence up and early, whether it's quick little slants to Smith or whatever it is, like Buka, get him going. They have to get the running game going, right? That two-headed monster was held in check against Michigan. We've been saying it all year that Ohio State has the talent, but they haven't really had that breakthrough moment, a resilient win at Penn State. They certainly took care of an Indiana team. I don't know. And Coach, we've been saying this all season. Is it Team A or is it Team B? Are we going to see that Buckeyes A team that we've been waiting for since the preseason, or this version that's been kind of lurking around all season? It's a tough one. I have Ohio State winning. I think it's going to be a winning field goal. A winning field goal within the last 4 minutes.
If it wasn't at Buckeye Stadium, I'd choose Tennessee. I'll tell you that.
I think so too.
Mark, it's Ohio Stadium.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't play there, so I'm sorry. No, respectfully.
A quick question for you guys. Of the 4 home venues, right? Austin, Texas, Columbus, Ohio, Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, and South Bend, Indiana. Of those 4, Coach, I'll start with you. Which one do you think is the toughest environment on a Friday/Saturday in December in a one-off college football playoff game? Toughest environment.
I think the whiteout's the toughest environment in college football. However, not this time. They're playing, all due respect, SMU. I think Ohio Stadium at night with the Tennessee rolling in there, I think there's some pent-up frustrations. But I also heard that Tennessee somehow got some tickets.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's some orange in those stands.
We're going to find out. I think there's going to be some great environments, but I'm going with the Buckeyes. That's the toughest environment.
What do you think, Mark?
I'm going with Happy Valley, the all-white. It's going to be cold. They ain't had no playoff game. They haven't been in the playoff. Them people going to be ready. They going to be ready to roll. That cold, that whiteout for SMU, they going to swarm them, and it's going to be foot and arse.
3 cold weather venues, and we all know Austin, Texas can get chilly when it wants to as well, but playoffs in December in Columbus,
foot
in South
and arses.
Bend, right?
Belt.
In State College. It feels right. Like I'm happy it's in those type of places. And obviously what Austin, Texas is, 4 great environments for college football. And again, it just goes to one of the things we've been saying all season long. College football playoffs has made college football better as a whole. Despite all the NIL and all the transfer portal issues and all that other stuff, college football It's got some warts we need to figure out. We got to get some compound W on some of those warts, but everything else is looking really good. We remind you, follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. Next week, a little bit of a change. You're going to be getting an episode on Monday the 23rd, and then another that week, Friday the 27th, bonus playoff episodes for our triple option family out there. We appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you watching, and we appreciate our sponsors, Wendy's, BetMGM, NHTSA, and USAA. Enjoy the college football playoffs. Yes, the college football playoffs.
Coach can't take them
here.
headphones off fast enough.
He's done. Enjoy
done.
the 4 games,
done.
everyone.
He did this 4 times already.
Quit talking, Stone. I got to go somewhere.